This is Gemara Menachos, Daf Nun, as we hold in the bottom of Mem Tessa Mebeis, 4 lines from the bottom, the Daf for Tainis Esther B'siyata Dishmaya Purim Daf on the horizon. Says the Gemara, Amar Le Rabino Le Ravashi, and hopefully B'siyata Dishmaya, we'll see in a moment how this is going to circle back around to our Mishnah in a moment. Hani Shisha V'Shiva Havu. These 6 lambs, honey shisha, shiva avu, the 6 lambs that were preparing in Rosh Hashanah, says Ravina the Ravashi, should really be 7. Why? For there's also the tamid of the 3rd morning afterwards. If you have Rosh Hashanah following Shabbos, so Rosh Hashanah is Sunday, Monday, so you have to have Tuesdays prepared as well. So says the Gemara, what do we see? We see that why, if we're preparing for 3 days, why does the Mishnah list you need to have 3 ready, 6 ready, should really have 7. Responds the Gemara, but if what you're saying is right, that you have to not only prepare for the days of Rosh Hashanah before Shabbos, but you have to also prepare for the day after Rosh Hashanah. Says the Gemara, if that is accurate, Tamanya Ave, then you really should prepare 8. Why? Because you have Erev Shabbos on Friday afternoon. So says the Gemara, why are you stopping at 7? She only have 8. Responds the Gemara, Haloi Kasha. To Labasar, the Akrab Kamar, the Mishnah is talking about a case after you already brought the one in Erev Shabbos. And that's why I counted 6. And the Kasha is that it should be 7. Says the Gemara as we turn over to Nun Amud Aleph. Mikol Makayim, we're left with the Kasha. Why is it 6? Shiva, it should really be 7. Havu says Gemara Latana Ba'al Makai. Rather, the Tana is talking about a general case. They always have to have 6 ready. Umay Kedei l'Shabbos Ubeiz Yom Umay Kedei l'Shabbos Sheyavim Tayim Shel Rosh Hashanah. And what does it mean enough for the 2 days and Rosh Hashanah? Simana ba'alma, it's just a siman, but avada, you're right. But etzem, there could even be times you might have to prepare more. They can now bring you right. They can kedei l'Shabbos. V'loik atani, it says enough for the Shabbos and the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah. V'loik atani, the Shabbos l'beis eventav Rosh Hashanah shema mina. So we see it just giving you a general case, but avada, there will actually be scenarios and more will be necessary. Continue by quoting the next part of the Mishnah, 5 lines down. V'chulu, you shall bring it in the afternoon. Amar Rav Shimon v'kula yisakreva bein harabayim, says Rav Shimon, the entire amount of ketayres were brought in the afternoon. Why? She'ein mechanchen es mizbech hazav ela b'kteres hasamim, cause the mizbech hazav doesn't have its chinuch, doesn't have its inauguration aside with the Keteris Hasamim that it's brought in the afternoon. Says the Gemara, Chinuch Mandachar Shmei. Who said anything about Chinuch? What are you talking about? The inauguration of the Mizbeach? What are you talking about? Says the Gemara, Chazurei Mechzor V'Achi Getani. We missed some words. Lo Yikrivu Kevesh V'Boiker. Then Lo Yakrivu Bein Arabayim. Babamed. Dvarim Amurim, 10 lines down. Shlomischanech HaMizbeach. HaMizchan HaMizbeach. Yakivu Bein Arabayim. Then you could, yes, even bring it Bein Arabayim. And Amar Rav Shimei Mosai Avzan Shayanusin Aishayin. Avalei Meizidim for his purpose. Allah Yikrivu Kevesh Aval. Mayus Mezidim Lo Yakrivu Kevesh V'Boiker. If it was on purpose, then what? Lo Yakrivu, and then as well you cannot bring it Bein Arabayim. You cannot bring it in the afternoon. Ketayres V'Boiker. Excuse me. Lo Yakrivu Bein Arabayim. Says the Gemara, the next case of the Mishnah, like the Yukteres V'Boiker Yaktiru Bein Arabayim. If you don't bring the Yukteres in the morning, you bring in the afternoon. Minani Mili. Where do we know this from? The Tanu Rabbanon. V'Sakeves Hasheni Das Bein Arabayim. Shnei Bein Arabayim. From the pasuk we see The second Tamid has to be brought in the afternoon. V'loi Rishon ben Arbayim. But the first Tamid is not brought in the afternoon. B'medvar Mamurim. So says the Brisa. When is this? Shonischanech HaMizbeach. Says only if the Mizbeach was not inaugurated. Nischanech HaMizbeach afilu Rishon ben Arbayim. Even the first one can be brought in the afternoon. So says the Gemara, Rav Shimon Masai, Bizman Shaya Nusina Yishagin Aval Mizidim, then like Kivu Kev Shavoiker, like Kivu Ben Arabayim, Lo Yiktiro, Keteris Aboiker, but yes, Yaktiro Ben Arabayim. We could even bring it in the afternoon, meaning this kinas of sorts that if amazing you didn't bring Baboiker, you can't bring in Ben Arabayim, doesn't carry over to the Keteris. Says the Gemara of Chikvanim Chatu Mizbeach Batal. I don't understand. The Kayhanim made a mistake, so now the Mizbeach should suffer. Those Kayhanim cannot bring you, but other Kayhanim can yes bring you. Therefore, the Mizbeach will have karbanos like Tiruk Teres Baboyer Tir bin Arbayim. Says the Gemara, since the Keteris is not common, and we know that the Keteris carries with it the incredible school of Barnasa, Chavivalo, so it's a mitzvah Chaviv, everyone wants the Barnasa, and because it's not common, therefore in the case of the Keteris, they didn't have to have this Gezerah, this Takana, preventing it. 10 lines from the white lines. Amar Rav Shimon Kula is a craving in Arbayim. Shem Chanchas of Zech Hazav. Elim Teres Asmam in Shabin Arbayim. Frekti Gemara. I don't understand. Ve'atanya says the Brisa back Teres Asmam Shel Shachar. That it wasn't inaugurated with the Teres bin Arbayim, but rather it was Teres Shel Shachar. Responds the Gemara, you're right. Tanayim Zochlik Tanayim. Amar Abaye, what is our Mishnah? Mistaver Kvantar Victoris Asamim shall be in Arbayim. The Seva Bakir Bakir Retivas and Eris. Yakti Renu. Ilav David Adlaka Meorta. Atava Bitsafra Mehicha. Ulman Domer Victoris Asam Shal Shachar. Gomer Mimizbeach Ayla. Mahala Bitav Shal Shachar Avkan. Bikatoris Asamin Shal Shachar. Continues the Gemara, okay? Now let's go to the next part of the Mishnah. What was the next part of the Mishnah? On the third white line said the Mishnah, the Shulchan is not inaugurated with anything other than the Lechem HaBanim on Shabbos. Says the Gemara. What's the diak of the Mishnah? The diak of the Mishnah is that this is only a din b'Shabbos, but b'achol it would not apply, but rather it would just have a din of chinuch. It would not have a din of chinuch b'achol, but it would have a din of kiddush b'achol. So says the Gemara, hagufa kamashmalan. This itself is what it's coming to teach us, that what? The chinuch, the kiddush, the shulchan, b'Shabbos. And not just chinuch, but kiddush, also the sanctification, also only happens on Shabbos. K'diktani seifa v'leis ha'menorah, ela b'shiva neira se'ah bein arbayim. Not the menorah, only with the shiva neira se'ah brought in the bein arbayim. Continues the Gemara. Continues the Gemara, Tanarabanan. Zeu Keteris also the Yachid on the Mizbeach. This was the Keteris that brought it by a Yachid on the Mizbeach, not on the Mizbeach Hapanimi. Hachitzain. Oh, Zech Hachitzain, excuse me. It was a Rasha allowing it to happen, but normally, Avada, you can't bring the Keteris by a Yachid, and it's not brought on the Shulchan Mizbeach Hachitz, and it's only brought on Mizbeach HaBenimi. Heicha, says the Gemara, where was this? Where was this that there's a matzev of Keteris being brought by a Yachid on the Mizbeach Hachitz? Amar Papa, you know when? Benesiyim, famously. So frag the Gemara Yachid on Mizbeach Hachitz and Utaloi, Mizbeach HaBenimi Makrif. But what's the obvious here? That a Yachid can't bring the Mizbeach Hachitz. But Adecha Benimi Kod Visu. Sounds like there's only an issue for Yachid on Zecha Chitzon, but Tzibur Kod. Vatani Yachli Yachid Misnadim, maybe Kiyotze by Nadava. Kairani Ba Moitze Sechat Ishmarva Sisa. Begaimer. Tamalaymar, that's what I would have thought. Says the Pasek, Loisalel, love Kitarizara. Yachli Yachid, maybe Shane, maybe Chavasa Kiyotze by. Aval, however, as we turn over to none of it base. Aval tzibar who maybe. Yeah, maybe that would be the hava mina why she maybe chavik yetzabai. Tamalai marlo sala yachlo yalam zecha benimi aval yalam zecha chitzain. Trying to figure out when is the ketayras and by whom it is brought. So you think it doesn't go on the zecha benimi. But if it goes, as zecha chitzah tamalai mar shemen hamishcha v'skiras hasamin lekodesh chol shar tzvisicha yaseh in the chalamasha omer b'inyan. It's only that which the Torah articulates. But what do we see? Lamaisa, we see Lamaisa is no din of a yachid bringing the ketayras on the zecha benimi, nor of the rabbim of the tzibor bringing on the zecha chitzain. So we have a steer on the braysos. Amar Papa Lemi Bayikamer. No, you're reading it wrong. The brayso is teaching us a chiddush. Loi mi bayisiram zecha chitzon deloi ashkechan. Loi bayachram zecha benimi deloi ashkechan. Meaning only the din itself, but not the diuk. Elafilu. Not only that, but even a yachram zecha chitzon dashkam, which we could find in the Sima Rasha, Haisa, so we can't learn it out to anywhere else. We continue with the Mishnah about 12 lines down, and none of the base Chavite Kohen Gadol Le'abayin Chatzayin. The Minchas Chavitin of the Kohen Gadol, the carbon which you bring every single day, was not brought in halves. Ella, rather, maybe Yisar and Shalim v'Chaitzai. They will bring a full Yisar and divide it. V'Makriv Mechsa B'Boiker Mechsa V'Nar Bayim. Kohen shemevi Mechsa Shachres Umeis. Umina Kohen Acher Dada, they appoint another Kohen Gadol in his place. Yavi Chatzi Yisarain mi Beisay v'Chatzi Yisarainai Shal Rishon Elo. So what do you add? Don't do that. Hala maybe Yisaran Shalem v'Chaitzah. Oh, Makar Mechsa. Avad, if it's lost, if it's Shechatzayin and Krivim Shechatzayin, Oivdin. So it says the Gemara. Let's get some Mikay rice. Tanu Rabbanan Ilu Nemar Mincha Machazis. If the Torah would have said half of a mincha, Yisrael would have thought maybe Chatzi Yisar mi Beisei Shachris Umakriv Chatzi Yisar mi Beisei Arvaris Umakriv. I would have thought that they continuously bring half and they makriv it. Talmud Loimer Machatziza Ba Boiker Machziza B'Erev Machsa Mishalemu Makriv. So says the Gemara that Machsa split it up and then bring it and Machatza mishalem divided from the whole umakriv. Hakates and maybe Yisar and Shalim v'Chaytza. Oh, umakriv mechsa b'Bagir mechsa in Arbayim nitza mechsa bin Arbayim. Oishavad, if have it some of your laws Yavli Yavi Chatzi Yisrael mi Beis. You would think just fix it up. Arvis v'Yaakov Tamalomer Machatzisa b'Boiker. It has to be the half of the Boiker. Machatzisa b'Erev Machzisa mishalem. Who maybe has to be half of the whole. Hakates. What is this case? Maybe Yisar and Shalom Yibeisav Chaytzayu Makar Mechsa Mechsa Avad Nimsa Shechatzayin Kariv Shechatzayin Oivdin Kohen Gadol Sheker Mechsa Shachas Umeis Umina Acher Tachtov. Let's say the Kohen Gadol himself brought it and he was nifter. And you appoint someone in his place, Yachal Yavi Chatzi Yisar mi Beis Chatzi Yisar shall reshain. Tamlar Machzisa B'Erev Mechsa Mishalimu Mevi Umakriv Hakates. And maybe Yisar and Shalim v'Chaytzahu, as we keep on seeing, he has to bring the full one and split it up. Umakriv Mechsa Oven Nimsa Shlichatzayin Oivdin Shlichatzayin Krivin. So in such a case they'd both be lost. And one more Braisa Tani Tanik Ameder of Nachman on the fifth white line. Mechsa Rishon, Mechsa Sheni, Tuabar Surasan. First half, the first half that was not brought by the Kohen Gadol, and the second half, which was also not brought by the second Kohen Gadol, what do? You leave it to lose its shape. I understand the first one. So you have to let it lose its form and then burn it. Why does it have to lose its form? He never had a purpose. Why did it never have a purpose? So says the Gemara, I said, who told this to you that the second one has to lose its shape and be burnt? According to that unique sheet, therefore, therefore they both fit to be brought as the carbon. Stop over here, we'll pick it up for the Chavite Kohen Gadol the next year. Siyata Dishmaya.